capabilities, but it's really just Bible.
Okay, go to mommy. Wait, sure, get your lid. All right.
Peter, you're recording for next time.
Yeah.
Don't forget.
Exactly. All right. Well, who knows what this is?
That's a whiteboard.
Yeah.
Christian, do you know what this is?
That's Honolulu Airport. You can erase that.
Honolulu Airport. If anybody's wondering.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah. I was showing Mark how the fighters break over us in the downwind.
All right. So we are going to start out by drawing. We're drawing something else. Okay? Yeah.
So pretty much we're just drawing the shape of words.
I need a pen. I gave Brandy my pen. Can I have a pen? I gave Brandy my pen.
Brandy, why did you bring a pen? There's some. Who needs a Bible? Everybody had one, right? Who didn't have a Bible? Nobody?
Does anybody need an ink dispensal unit?
Need a pen. What?
It does. It dispenses ink.
Probably.
Are we drawing the shape of words?
Does anybody need a Bible?
Laura needs a Bible.
Felicia.
I need some
Felicia, do you like pink? Yes. Yes.
I love pink.
Hey, we're guys. That's pink.
Oh wait.
All right. So we are going to start out by drawing. So if you go in your Bibles to Genesis chapter 1. Genesis 1, verse 6 through 10. And I'm going to need James to read it. You got it, bro? No, 6 through 10. But wait till everybody's quiet. Oh, I'm nice. Alright, James is going to read Genesis 1, verses 6 through 10 for us. And this is what we're going to draw. 1 through 6 through 10? Alright, James.
And God said, "Let there be an expanse between the waters to separate water from water." So God made the expanse and separated the water under the expanse from the water above it. And so God called the expanse sky. And there was evening, and then there's morning the second day.
Alright, hold on right there. So, I'm going to... Yeah, Shane was drawing Godzilla last time, so I was like, we need to have something with drawing. So that's why we did this. So, James just read, let there be an expanse in the midst of the waters, right? So here you have earth, right? And it was just a bunch of water, right? When God made it, right?
It was dark water.
The dark, scary kind.
Even though there's nothing here, we draw.
What am I missing out on back there? Is there something like really funny?
My phone. Bible is
Her Bible is
keeps
arranged
vibrating
in
whenever I get a text.
a 365-day calendar fashion.
Is this your Bible? No. Oh, it's the church one. Oh.
Here.
That's so
You
weird.
can have a
Alicia
really
can't
cool one. Alright, so we got the earth and it's just full of water, right? And then James just read in verse 6 and 7, and it said, "Let there be an expanse in the midst of the waters, and let it separate the waters from the waters." And so God separated the waters which were below the expanse from the waters which were above. Right? So right smack dab in the middle of these waters, God makes this area. And this is called, what was it called?
Yeah.
The sky. What? Another version says the heavens. Right? So sky or heavens. We'll just write the heavens. So this is the heavens. And then verse 9 and 10. Go for
God said, "Let the water under the sky be gathered to one place, and let dry ground appear." And it was so. God called the dry ground land, and the dry ground land, and the gathered waters he called seas. And God saw that it was good.
George just bobbed his head.
That was not a bump.
So we have the waters separated, and they all kind of went to one area, right? How's my drawing? You guys are going to get to draw this in a second. And then there was land that appeared. So this is the land, and this is the seas, right? And so this is the world that God created. There is water above, water, with my left hand. And then there's the heavens. And then God separated the land from the seas, right? So this is the world that God made. So you can draw that a lot better than me. And if you haven't started, go for it. Because that is the first fill in the blank. However you want to draw it. This is the world that God created.
Wait, right here.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, draw whatever you want. Draw, this is my version.
Drawing a dragon.
Hey, I drew
What's up,
shark.
Laura?
I can't do that.
So this is the heavens. This is the seas. This is the land. Right? So God's original world had water above us.
And then that's what the flood went with them.
And you're very smart, just like your sister.
What?
Your sister's really smart, just like you.
We go to school. We're homeschooled, so.
You're homeschooled.
Everybody here lost me. You hear
Okay, so who's got the best drawing?
me.
That's pretty good.
I'm not done with it yet.
That's pretty good.
I'm not done with it yet.
That's like
I got the same shirt as all that.
That's pretty good. I like it.
I need new pens.
I just found out how to draw a really good ocean. I have a pen.
Alright, you're welcome. Alright, you got 30 more seconds to finish drawing.
What? Oh.
There's a shark. Am I drawing?
You're done? Let me see.
There's a shark on a piece right here.
That's pretty cool.
I just found out how to draw a really good ocean.
There's mine.
Yeah, like this.
Nice.
Dude, check out mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all just
I just found out how to draw like the
Alright, time! Time. Let me see them. Who got the best?
I have a shark.
That's good, that's good.
I have the
I
ocean.
like it.
I have the ocean here.
A shark and a lemon.
Well, I already made a shark before, and I didn't know how to draw there, so I messed
Fair
up.
enough. Ooh, this is actually really pretty.
Invented yet.
Wow.
Yeah, short term memory, yeah, he doesn't-
Nice.
There's
I
not.
think it's called meat.
Cool.
Yeah,
Alright, let me get you back.
Wait, Elise has hers.
Okay, good. Good job, Elise.
Had a palm.
Thank you. Palms are great.
Oh.
So,
I drew a shark.
there was creation, and then there was the fall of man. We talked about that. And today we're talking about the flood, right? So if you've got your little timeline, that's kind of where we're at and where we're going. Alright. Here's an extra one. Alright.
And I think I didn't even understand.
That's fine. I'll get you another one. All right. So we are going to talk about the flood today because something major happened to this drawing that you had, and we're going to talk about that. And even though like we spent 3 weeks and we're only like 6 chapters in, this is like some major events that have gone on in the history of the world. Like this actual world, these things have actually gone on. And so we're kind of just getting to know them so that when we look at the rest of this story of God and Jesus, we'll understand where it's coming from, right? You can't just pick up a good book and read like page 55, right? You got to read page 1 through 54, right? So, who remembers when we were talking about creation? Who remembers the 4 things that we talked about creation teaching us? It teaches us a lot of
That
things.
we are blessed.
Oh,
We were blessed. Yep, that wasn't one of them that I was going to write down though, but yes, we were blessed. And we were blessed with what?
A purpose.
We're blessed with a purpose. That's so good. Yellow or purple?
7. Both.
Yellow.
Purple. With the yellow banana.
Banana man.
These are lost. And then I used banana.
I like
Ew.
banana.
I used to love them. I put them in my mouth.
Alright, hold on. What purposes did we have?
And family.
You're all lazy. To multiply the face of the earth.
No, that's Adam's.
Alright. Yes. Emma.
I don't know.
Yeah, just one.
We were made in the image.
We were made in the image of God. Do you like purple or yellow?
Purple.
That's great. I like grape. Grape's good.
Alright. Who else? Yeah.
It was to, wait, are we talking about creation or just
Yeah,
about
creation.
purpose?
What are the 4 things we learned about this creation?
Oh, that God breathed life into us.
And what does that mean?
It means that he came face to face with us.
Face to face, super close. Yeah. We were built to have a relationship with God, right? We were built for a relationship with God. Yellow or purple?
Purple.
Purple it is. I saw Lisa's hand first. Is your hand
Watch my
full?
hand down, calling her.
Okay, Lauren. Last one.
We have red.
Yeah, God made us to rest. What
Call Rhonda.
what color?
Yellow. What? You traitor.
What day did God make us on?
6.
6. And then what was the next day?
7.
7. Right? He's like, hey, you gotta
I'm
do
good
all
at
these
math.
things.
Because it's 10 different plants.
Yeah.
Right? And God wants us to rest. Right? Alright. So that is creation. Last week, what did we talk about? Who remembers? I'll give you hints right there.
Fail.
Talk about the fail of man.
Fall.
So, we didn't do like 4 points of like what we learned, but there's 4 points that directly, how did the fall directly impact creation? So, first question is, how did the fall affect us being made in the image of God? Are we still made in the image of God? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. But what's different?
We're not.
Is there a difference? Yeah.
We are made sinners. We're sinners now.
Yeah, we're made sinners. Yeah. So we are still made in the image of God,
But
but we're fallen. Right? We no longer bear the holiness of God. Right? Like, boom. Whoops. But we're still made in His image, which is awesome. Alright, so, purpose. God created us with a purpose. Did the fall destroy our purpose?
no.
Oh,
James, what are your thoughts?
It made work harder and made making a family harder.
well, we were cursed. We were cursed.
Making a family. What does it mean?
God cursed us.
Cursed, harder, but we still have a purpose, right?
Yeah.
And it's still the same as what God said, right?
The
Alright.
first thing was a little
Third thing, relationship. We were built for a relationship with God. Did that change with the fall? Yeah. Wait, show me your teeth. Kalina, what happened with this relationship?
We can choose to have a relationship with God.
Were we able to choose before? What's that? Were we able to choose if we had a relationship with God before?
Well, kind of, yes.
Kind of, yes.
Even if you don't have a relationship, it's still a relationship. If you think about
It's a one-sided
it.
relationship. It's a one way.
So who else has thoughts about the whole relationship thing? Do we still? What did the fall do to our relationship with God? At least.
Well, they put God put guards in the garden so we couldn't go in because there was like the tree of life.
Yeah.
And if we had eaten.
And so what did that do with our relationship? Kind of like set up there was like a barrier, right? Like we no longer had direct access with God, right? Because before we used to just walk around with Him. So, relationship.
Separated?
We became separated, and there was a way that we would have that restored, which was by the killing of an animal, right? Or the blood, right? And so we had the separation happen. We'll just call it sep. And the only way it could be restored was with the sacrifice. That word says sacrifice, if you're wondering.
It goes off the page. It's like when you print it.
It goes off the page, exactly.
I actually learned like the triangle. It's like there's a triangle. It's God, man, and the earth. No, a triangle.
Yeah, so what God, man, the earth?
And so it was the relationship between man and God. God cursed man, so that was damaged. That line was damaged. God cursed the earth. He cursed man with the earth, so that was damaged. And then what all of God's creation, He also had to curse like the serpent, so that him in the earth was damaged, and it disrupted everything just by the one sin.
You're smart.
That's actually the whole sermon. That's the whole sermon, actually.
You spelled the whole sermon in a minute.
Yeah, that's good. Next time, I'm asking David how to make my sermon in a minute.
Hey, he still hasn't talked about sanctification yet.
I missed it, but I still have it. I don't know if it's 2 minutes, but I have a basic idea.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
After.
And then actually, Pastor Perry used it in the sermon with like the block of marble. That was what I was thinking.
Cool. Alright, so yeah, after, or maybe next week then we'll just have you share. That's cool. Alright, so the last thing that creation, God gave us rest. How did the fall of man affect that?
We'll have less rest.
We have less rest?
That's bad.
Are we still supposed to rest on the seventh day?
Oh,
What else do you guys think? Because I haven't quite figured this out yet.
we're supposed to rest on something.
We're still supposed to rest on the 7th. Okay. What other thoughts do you guys have about how the fall affected us having rest? Did it?
Well, he wasn't really able to have more rest. He now had to kind of more closely monitor. I'm thinking that he kind of had to more closely monitor the earth, because now that sin is introduced, then it's I guess harder for God. He has to keep his eyes open more.
Cool. Thanks for sharing. Any other thoughts? Because I haven't quite figured out how the fall has affected leaders.
Yeah, I think that part of the curse is that it's harder to do work. So like, you work a lot, so it's hard to have a day of rest. So I think the curse affects us and it makes it harder to take rest because we have to work harder in general.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like it's just a byproduct of having to work harder. We have less rest because we have to really put an effort into it.
And you spend half your day of rest thinking about work.
Work, yeah.
You need
Or doing
more
the
rest.
laundry or mowing
Or doing the other work that you...
Yeah, doing other work.
And you need
Exactly.
more rest. And then you kind of need more rest, but you don't really get it.
But you don't always get it.
And that's called being an adult.
Right? Alright, so this brings us to all this stuff happened, and then last week we talked about how after we initially fell, the world just got worse and worse, right? Like things just went super bad. What's
I
up?
think I figured out the rest.
Yeah.
It's because now that we had to do more, fatigue was introduced, so we wanted more rest. We didn't just need the Sunday. They probably wanted a lot more rest.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. Definitely, man. Those are super good. You guys get an A+ because you guys are smart. So good job. Yeah, you get an A+. Absolutely. All right, so we're going to look at the flood, right? So turn to the right a couple chapters to Genesis chapter 6. Genesis chapter 6, and I know you guys have all heard about the flood, and so this is just kind of a lot of review, but I want to kind of dive in a little bit so we actually look at the flood and see what really happened, because this was a major event for everything. Right, so Genesis chapter 6, verse 9 through 14. Can I have somebody volunteer to read that, please? I saw Coral's hand first, actually.
Wait.
What?
Flood at the top.
Yeah, chapter 6, verse 9 through 14.
Okay, I got it. Oh. This is the account of Noah. Noah was a righteous man, blameless among people of his time. He walked with God. Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth.
That's pretty good.
Now the earth was corrupt in God's sight with full violence. God saw how corrupt the earth had become for all of his people. Earth had corrupted their ways, so God said to Noah, I'm going to put an end to these people. The earth is filled with violence because of them. I am surely going to destroy both of them and the earth.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, you did good. So God is warning. He's saying, hey, the end of the world is coming. And verse 17 and 18, he says, I am bringing the flood of water upon the earth to destroy all flesh in which is the breath of life. From under heaven, everything that is on the earth shall perish. It's a big deal. Everything's going to die. But I will establish my covenant with you, Noah, and you will enter the ark, you and your sons and your wife and your sons' wives with you. Right? So God is giving a heads up. Hey, the end of the world's coming because it's really wicked. So if you fast forward to chapter 7, verse 11, the flood starts. And this is how it starts, and we're going to spend a little bit of time with this verse, because a lot of times we can just read through a verse, and we're like, oh, okay, yeah. But there's a lot in it. And so Lauren wants to read it, 7:11.
Okay. When Noah was 600 years old, on the 17th day of the 2nd month, all the underground waters erupted from the earth, and the rain fell in mighty torrents from the sky, and the rain continued to fall for 40 days and 40 nights.
Yeah, perfect. So did you see that part where it said, the fountains of the deep burst open? That's what mine says. What does yours say right there? The fountains of the deep burst open? It's in the middle of it.
Underground waters?
The underground waters, what happened to them? Erupted. Alright, so
Imagine geysers.
if you remember, right, our drawing that you guys have, right? So you have water up here, you have water here, and you have land, right? So the fountains of the deep burst open. So there's tons and tons of water down here. It just sprang up, right? And all this water came up out of the earth. And then the end of that verse, Lauren, says, what does your version say at the end of that verse? Oh, mine says the floodgates of the skies were open.
The floodgates of heaven.
The floodgates of heaven? Yeah, so then the rain came down, right? So it wasn't just rain, there's also water coming up.
Wait, so when the water come up, didn't that break the land and that's if the that supports Pangea or something, because that's how it broke up, so when the water came out?
That's
That was the tectonic plates.
awesome question, yeah.
That's when the tectonic.
It's tectonic plates because.
It caused them to move faster.
So how many of you have been taught? That the Earth is millions of years old, billions of years? I've been taught
Everything
that.
says that.
A lot of
No, I
schools
haven't.
say
Yeah,
that.
I went to Christian
A lot of
school.
schools say that.
Yeah, most of you guys have like grown up in schools that haven't touched that, but you guys have heard that before, right?
Yeah.
But I grew up
I
believing
grew up
that.
at Iconi.
Oh, okay.
So yes.
Yeah.
It's
I went to school in my house, so
And
No,
I
it's
grew
like
up being
trillions
taught that.
of years old.
Trillions of years. Yeah, it used to be billions, millions actually when I was growing up, and now it's billions, maybe trillions. Right? So, science actually proves the Bible, right? Like, sometimes you might have people tell you that science disproves the Bible, but it actually proves it, right? And so we're going to, there's a Christian scientist that Mark's going to queue up. Do I need to turn this
Is
on?
he smart?
He's really smart. So he's a creationist, right? And so he goes through the Bible and he finds these things and he talks about Pangea here, in this actually. And so things that the Bible says, he shows like what happens scientifically with them. What's up?
All the scientists before the 19th century were pretty much all Christians.
Yeah. Yeah, isn't that cool? Yeah. Alright, so this is about 3 minutes long. So just sit back, relax.
We just have a debate in science from the creationists.
What's that
So Elise, that was a really cool question about Pangea, right? That was a cool question you had about Pangea. You know, like if they fit. Yeah, and I used to, think like, oh yeah, Pangea, that makes sense. And then like I watched some of this guy and it's like, oh man, like science actually supports like what the Bible says. And that like blew my mind, right? And so the more you guys get to know science, the more you guys will get to know God, right? So that verse that we just were talking about, 7:11, we just talked about the fountains of the great deep burst open, right? And then the floodgates of the sky were opened, and the rain fell for 40 days and 40 nights. So there's another seminar with this guy that talks about a little bit about what that looks like with that canopy of water and what the world would have been like when that canopy of water was over us. And so it's going to talk about dinosaurs a little bit, and it's going to talk about like oxygen. It's going to talk about how we could have run for hundreds of miles and have been like ultra ripped dudes. Would have been awesome. So it's going to be another couple minutes, but it talks about what the world was like with that. And then when it rained all that water down with the flood, we now have this earth. So go ahead and hit it, Mark.
Killed the dinosaurs. A lack of oxygen. Why would they say that? Well, they had a big symposium in 1993. A bunch of scientists got together to study the apatosaur.
Right, so the earth was very different before the flood, right? The earth was a different place. So other videos from this guy, he talks about how the whole world, because of this, sorry, I'm like blocking you out. Because of this layer of water or ice, you'd never have to shiver, you'd be warm all over the world, right? Even in Antarctica and the North Pole, they've actually found palm trees just like frozen in the ice upright, like hundreds of feet down in the ice, up on the poles. Because with the greenhouse effect, the temperature would be more temperate. It was like a Hawaii-like environment everywhere on Earth, right? Yeah. So so we see like the whole Earth was cursed with our sin, right? Like at first we became cursed because of our sin, right? But then the Earth suffered as well, and the animals, right? So Mark's got a picture of Hawaii up on the screen in a second. In a little second. Bam! Alright, actually put the other one up. So this is Hawaii, and this is like a topography map, so it shows like elevations, right? So the green is everything above the water. The brown is everything like just below the water, like just a little bit, right? So that's like kind of like a shelf, right? So.
But it's not really just below. It's really far below. But compared to the globe, it's.
But in comparison to the 14,000 feet below, like all this blue area, it's really not that bad, right? So, this is my thoughts. So before the world, Earth used to have a lot more dry land, right? because all the water didn't come up from below the earth. So if there was less water up here, that means there was more land, right? And so Hawaii itself would have been even bigger, right? So we would have had lots more real estate, homes would have been cheaper, could have driven all over to Maui, but it wouldn't have been Maui, right? Yeah, what's up?
Maui's the one that looks like a person's head, right?
Yeah, that's Maui right there.
A person's head.
I've never seen it like that.
Right?
Guam is the one that looks like.
I don't see
Did you
that.
see a person's head or the
Oh,
president?
I see it. No,
That was a good question, Carl. So when we look at the earth, right, we're seeing a beautiful place that God has left His beauty in His creation, but we're seeing a cursed planet, right? Like this isn't the earth that God made. This earth has been cursed with a flood, right? And so that's why God talks about He's going to make a new earth. You know, in Revelation, He talks about that. If you look at your timeline, like all the way at the end, there's going to be a new heaven and a new earth, right? So this flood shows us a couple points, and you can write these down. And you're saying the flood shows us kind of consequences of sin, right? So sin causes death, right? Everybody died except Noah, right? Like that's kind of a big deal. Like real people, right? Real moms, real dads, real kids, real animals. The earth got cursed, right? The earth got destroyed. So sin causes death to humans, animals. Yeah, they ended up dying too. And the earth, right? So sin kills a lot of things, right? And so the point to take home from tonight is sometimes, at least when I was growing up and even now, I don't always think about sin as being like so big a deal. It's like, oh yeah, I sinned, but that person kind of sinned worse, or, you know, I didn't sin a whole lot, or I didn't kill anybody, maybe it was just a little sin. Maybe I just lied to my parents. Maybe they told me to take out the trash, I didn't. No biggie. You know, I didn't honor my parents, one of the 10 Commandments, right? But any sin we do causes these things, guys. Causes death for humans, death for animals, and death for the earth. And it's kind of a big deal. And I don't mean to like hit you heavy and be like, you guys cause all this death. But the sin that's living inside of us does, right? I gotta get some water, sorry.
God should have a dad.
Yeah. So, but then the question is, remember how we did the whole God meant this to happen? The things of creation? And then after the fall, this is what happened to those things? None of the things that God purposed were destroyed, right? We were still made in the image of God. We still have a purpose. We're still made to rest, and we're still made with relationship. Same thing with God. So last verse, and then we're going to have some fun. Romans 8:28. All right, Kalina knows it. Romans 8:28. James got it already. He beat you. Go for it, James, loud.
And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose.
That's right. So the last 3 weeks, we have been talking about that verse, and you might not have even known it. In all things, God works for good. So Satan tried to destroy God's work by making us sin, right? Tempting us to sin. But he didn't win because God has caused good out of it, right? Our relationship is restored with God, right? So the flood doesn't end here, right? It doesn't end, everything's destroyed, everything's forgotten. If you look at Genesis chapter 9, verse 1, I'll just read it to you. Genesis 9:1. God blessed Noah, and he said to them, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. That reminds me of the purpose that he gave Adam, right? He blessed us with a purpose, like James said, right? So God still triumphs over evil. Over our sin that you and me do every day, God triumphs over it, right? And there will be good through the evil and the hard things that happen here on earth. And so as we're getting ready to talk about Jesus, so So we're right here. We just talked about the flood. Next week we're going to talk about all of Israel, all the way up to Jesus. We got to remember, this whole story is pointing to Jesus. This whole story is talking about redemption, bringing good from bad, right? Story of us falling, but God saving us, right? Got it?
Yeah.
What questions? What comments? Kalina?
Okay. So Jesus' dad, Joseph, well, like his
Yeah.
human dad, the long line leads all the way up to Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, more directly Noah. But
Or
Noah's
Abraham.
related to
No,
Adam.
because Noah's parents.
Wait. Let her get it. Yeah, keep asking.
All the way up to Adam. So I asked my mom about this. She said that, like, since Adam was a sinner, that makes Joseph a sinner. So why isn't Jesus a sinner? And
Awesome
so she
question.
said the holy side comes from God and Mary's side of him.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's cool. What do you guys think? Have you guys thought of that or heard that before?
But if all of our parents, everything dates back to Adam and Eve, we're all related.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool, huh?
He's my second. He's my fourth.
So Kalina's asking how. Hold on.
Guys.
So Kalina's asking is how is Jesus not born a sinner if, he was born from sinners, right? Because he's God. Yeah, he is God.
Well, he's man.
Here you go.
He's all God and all.
Here. Hold on. Listen to that.
Because back then it was always for guys, it was always for the father. So I talk about the sins of the father, being that his father was God, and not actually Joseph.
Joseph was just the stepfather.
He was just the man who raised him. Wasn't his, there was no biological relation there. That he would have carried God's sin, which was nothing.
Yep. Is that kind of like, that's what your mom sounds like, what she was saying too. Yeah, totally agree with that. And I think all leaders here too would probably say the same. All right, Cora, what's your thought, question, comment?
Okay, so if sin can kill animals and animals don't sin, then
Well, if an animal bites you, it's sin.
What was the question?
if animals die from sin, animals don't sin.
Well, animals died from
Human
Our
sin.
sin. Like when you know it's an animal and they die.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like
If
when
your
you
dog
disobey
bites you, it's
parents,
your
you
fault.
play with the matches and you try to run away, but your goldfish dies because of the fire. Then it's because of your sin.
If your dog bites you, it's your fault.
I mean, a goldfish, not a dog.
It's like,
Yeah, the consequences of sin, Coral, go beyond you. When you sin, other people feel that, right?
Like when you sneeze, everyone gets a cold.
Like, that's bad news.
What's her question?
Well, she said if death is caused by sin, God won't sin.
Right. Then why are they punished?
Because we sin, therefore animals must die.
Coral. When we sin, alright, everybody listen.
Here, James.
When we sinned, what happened was we introduced death into the world. So everything living dies. Animals die, plants die, we die. Even creation is decomposing. So, like stars die. Everything is slowly dying. And so that's a byproduct of sin. And so animals didn't sin, but because we sinned, we introduced death into the world. And so everything's affected by that.
It's like when they brought all the animals to Hawaii and spread.
Yeah.
Yeah, are we considered animals? That's like elephants.
We are we well, so we're classified as a mammal, but the difference between us is that we have a soul.
scientifically,
Mammals are the ones with hair and we have hair.
scientifically,
Alright, let's circle up, and then we're going to play a fun game.
Coach, you need a bunch of girls to be guys.
do we have
I think your hands are smaller than mine.
The other couple of it's in the cabinet.
I wasn't gonna. They're cold too.
Your hands are warm.
Alright, everyone pray for us.
You. You raised your hand, Coral?
Go ahead, Carl.
Fine. Jill, I thank you for today. Thank you that we had a good youth group and for the rest of the night to go well and just name amen.
Amen. Alright, so Big D has a fun game for us.
Alright, everybody pick up your stuff. We're gonna rearrange the chairs.
Yeah, pick up your guys' stuff. Put it over on that side of the room.
Bring the chairs over here, guys.
Oh, you're gonna just move it all over there?
Yeah, bring your chair over here.
Are you gonna do 2 on each couch?